That's a hard question to answer. There's so many variables. It depends on the size, the style, the color, the glass package, the condition of the opening, second floor, third floor. I mean, there's a bunch of things that go into that. I would say it's not inexpensive, but it's even more expensive if you don't replace it right because of the problems that it can create. It's several thousands of dollars to do a house full of windows, and again, how many windows also makes a big part of that difference. I would tell you that Thermo King, we're on the higher end. We're not trying to be the inexpensive model. Our plan is to do it right and do it right from the start so that you don't ever have to do it again, and it isn't a problem for you ever in the future after you replace with us. There isn't a big price difference between the styles. I mean, you know, specialty shaped windows, circle windows, half rounds, arches and stuff like that, those are all hand done, so they are more costly by a significant amount because it's totally hand custom made type stuff. But between a casement window, which is a crank out style of window, and a double hung window, which is the style that go up and down, there isn't a huge price difference. Non-opening windows are usually less expensive because there's no moving parts, so it's less manufacturing time, less parts and pieces to assemble it. The big difference is with windows itself there's so many different quality levels. It's, you know, you can get really inexpensive stuff, which when I say that relative to today, they're inexpensive, but even cheap windows are expensive now. So you just want to make sure that when you do this, you get a high-end product, and you need it explained to you why it is a high-end product and not just somebody saying, yeah, it's a really good window. I always have stories for everything. I have a friend that I tried to sell our windows to when he built his home. And because he was maxing himself out on the home, he didn't get my windows, and he went with the builder's windows, and the builder said, oh, these are really good windows. Well, 3 years later, his windows were having all kinds of issues with water leakage, mold was growing in between the glass, and parts and pieces were cracking and breaking off. Well, that window company used the cheapest hardware, the cheapest material, the cheapest vinyl, the cheap. They manufactured to meet a price range rather than a quality range. And so now I can say he's replaced his windows with me, but he did it twice. He spent on the cheap windows the first time, and then several years later, not several years later, he replaced those windows again, and it's buying windows twice, which is crazy. And we see that all the time in Kansas City with replacement windows. There is literally a window for whatever price you want to spend. It's just you get what you pay for. And we'll go into people's homes where they've had other window companies come out and replace their windows, and they're like, you know, they were thrilled with the price, but then years later they weren't thrilled with the product, and not only did they replace the rest of their windows with us, but a lot of times we wind up replacing replacement windows because they don't meet their expectation.